We're back, baby. It's the Charity Stripe. Pitch your free throws because they are free. Fisher Tosopoulos, Daily Stripe. It's Monday, June 12th. It's a Monday, the weekend. Fun weekend. Some combat sports, a little tennis. Very exciting. Kutch joins the 2000s hit club. All right, let's get who's the weekend winner for you. Djokovic sets the record with 23rd Grand Slam. Kutch is the 294th player, I believe, to get 2,000 hits. Amanda Nunes wins at UFC 289, bantamweight champion. She retires subsequently. Or Teal Lopez beating Josh Taylor, dominating in two different weight classes in the boxing arena.
Well, I'm going to quickly yank Teo Lopez and Andrew McCutcheon off this list. You mentioned it's an incredible feat for McCutcheon. But he is joining, what'd you say, 294 other MLB players, MLB batters, right? Correct. Not even talking about pitchers and just what they're able to do in that sport. So for me, quickly remove those two. A sport that I care more about personally, and one that I play every now and then. I'm going, and I think it's the right answer either way. Novak Djokovic wins the weekend and has also grasped the title of the GOAT in tennis.
Well, Amanda Nunes has grasped the title of female GOAT for fighter. I think
But there are weight classes, and that's the distinction between tennis and combat sports.
I think you are correct. Yeah. Djokovic, his road to claiming his 23rd, beating Alcaraz, beating Casper Ruud in the finals, respectively, the first ranked world player and the fourth ranked world player. What he's done in his career is unbelievably impressive.
Which you could argue that the only reason why those guys are ranked where they are is because of some of the off the court stuff that happened in the last 2 years. I don't think anybody really questions, at least right now, the way that he's playing, the level of tennis that he's at, that he's not the best player on the world.
Yeah, a couple follow
player in the world. Yeah, he also he's the only guy to have won 3 majors at the Grand Slam tourneys.
Crazy.
He's won each of them 3 times. And to do it while Fed and Nadal are in their prime, like that also takes him. He peaks the mountaintop there.
Is it the most top heavy sport, tennis?
I think so. Yeah.
That or F1.
Yeah.
Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton just trading. One goes on 1 5-6 year reign, the other follows suit.
But the way that money gets involved in that sport is different in the way that it can in tennis. Like, it's not like Djokovic has a better quality racket than any other player out there. They're all playing pretty much the same equipment.
Yeah, now they've changed it in F1 where there's a cap and there's monetary restrictions and you can't just spit. It's not like not like the Yankees versus the Royals or the A's type situation. But yes, you're right. I mean, it's just a pure skill level of Novak, and what he's done has been unbelievable. He is our weekend winner. I would say, and no offense to the other 3 athletes, what they've done is unbelievable, but I would say in a landslide victory. Now, Kutch, I mentioned 294. There are 293. That means other players who have had 2,000 hits. He's the 5th active leader. Can you name the other 4 ahead of him?
Well, Miguel Cabrera.
That would be number 1, correct.
Albert retired, so he's obviously not in consideration there. Can I get some support on teams? Oh, Votto.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm giving you one more hint. And this is all I think this is all you're going to need. Both formerly played for your Texas Rangers.
Both formerly played for my Texas Rangers. And they're in the league still? I think that might have thrown me in the wrong direction.
Wrong.
It might have confused me. Oh, really?
Who?
Our former shortstop?
Elvis Andrus?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Wild.
And this other one might shock you even more.
What position does this guy play?
DH.
Oh, Nelly. Yeah, that doesn't shock me.
Just like the power side.
Yeah, but how long has that guy been playing baseball for?
Long time.
I'm slightly where is Elvis Andrus at? Do you have the The exact number for
I
him?
yeah,
I
I
can pull it
actually
up
can
too.
get it. I got it. So next up is Freddie Freeman. He's at 1992. Freddie Freeman's gonna get it any week now. He could get it
Yeah.
this week. Elvis is number 276. He's got 2,027 hits in a 15-year career. Very nice out of him. Nelly Cruz is just ahead of him at 2,043.
Okay. And how many years has Nelson Cruz been playing?
Both players. Wow, no, Nelson Cruz has been playing for 19 years.
Yeah. Okay. So he has 4 extra years on Elvis Andrus.
But his first 4 years, he really didn't play that much. He wasn't
Yeah,
an
he was kind
everyday
of
player.
he was a platoon guy. Yeah. And Elvis, kind of the opposite, came in a little bit of a Prince who was promised situation, was an all-star his second year in the bigs, and has put together a solid career. Now, he's a career 268 guy. I always felt like he could have ended up his career at like a 274, like a 276. Like I never felt like he got on base and put the ball in play as much as he should have, or at least as much as he was hyped to be able to become. But impressive that he's there. I completely doubted him. Didn't think he was in that mix. And shout out to Kutch for doing it, even though he's had a career that's been riddled with some injuries, especially in the last 8 years of his career. Obviously, what he did at the Pirates at the beginning of it was incredible. He took the MLB by storm in his first 5 years with that squad. And we were just looking at it. He won the NL MVP 1 year. The
Multiple top 5 finishes.
The year prior, I was like, wow, he was just as good, if not better, that season.
It's crazy.
So this is a guy who has been really impactful, at least in our lifetime of watching baseball.
God. He's the best. He's the best player for a franchise in our lifetime.
You mean you're just saying like he's the best Pirate?
Pittsburgh Pirate of our lifetime, for sure. If he's synonymous with the Pittsburgh Pirate. Like every other player who's played for them has kind of come and gone.
Right.
Aramis Ramirez, Garrett Cole, the list, or Starling Marte, or they've just like kind of faltered out. But McCutch,
Freddie Sanchez, who we were talking about,
Jack
the other
Wilson.
day.
I mean, we could go on and on. But the boys love naming old baseball players.
I mean, the fact that Jack Wilson's on that list is like, that's all you need to know.
Oh my God, that franchise is one of the worst franchises in all professional sports. We can make that list another time. I do want to get though to something that you and I very near and dear to our hearts. It's the title of our stream today. Is this the beginning of the Denver Nuggets dynasty tonight?
I think they're going to win the NBA Finals. It might not happen tonight, but it's going to happen. They're going to win for sure. I think that it's hard for me to say that this is going to be the beginning of their dynasty.
You're gonna for sure the win.
Do you have any?
I just can't say for sure. No, I'm with you, but I just can't say for sure with this Miami Heat team.
In my heart of hearts, I believe at this point I've seen enough that the Nuggets are going to win this series.
I would like to think so as well, but I will never count out the Heat.
Right, and they play better when their back's up against the wall. So we know that we would not be surprised. That's why I say it might not be tonight, because I would not be surprised if the Heat
win. Tyler Herro's suiting up. Is going to try to get out there and play.
Right.
We'll see.
I can't lock in that this is like going to be an established dynasty. There's too much going on in the NBA year in, year out in the off season. Can we wait until the Suns actually figure out what's going to happen with Chris Paul? Like they have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant on their team. They did not have the luxury of playing together for an entire season, being together for an off season, coming into this year's playoffs. That was very much rushed. And what it turned into on the court felt rushed, right? It felt like they didn't have the same gel as a team like the Nuggets did. I got to see what the Warriors are going to do, because the Warriors have capital that can be moved and they can retool as easy as anyone. I have to see what the Lakers end up doing, because they did get swept by the Nuggets, but I think there are still moves to be made for them. And D'Angelo Russell is a very tradable contract right now. If they can turn that into other players and upgrade their roster, okay, I have some belief in them. I think this Western Conference is stacked at the top, and we found that out coming into the playoffs when we started comparing the conferences to each other. So it could be the beginning of the Nuggets dynasty, but I can't wholeheartedly tell you that it is going to be the beginning of the Nuggets dynasty. How do you feel about that?
Okay, you bring up the Warriors. They came out today. There's going to be some roster reconstruction. That we know. I would imagine you and I have both clamored for them to trade Jordan Poole in some capacity. I do think that the Warriors missed their opportunity in some respects to continue their dynasty because they had one. They, as of now, have gone 0 for 3 in the 3 lottery picks they had the option with in the past 5 seasons. They missed on Wiseman. He's no longer with the team. Kuminga has not been able to develop, and Moody has been a disappointment, and he's not been able to crack the starting lineup. Draymond, you obviously have questions there. Klay Thompson has, shown spurts of just being great again, but he's getting up there in age, and you've given this massive contract to Jordan Poole, which ultimately probably a mistake. So while you still have Steph Curry, who I believe is a top 10 player on the planet, there's a lot that needs to be done for the Warriors. Going to your Lakers point, the D'Lo trade, we have to see what happens with Chris Paul and the Suns. The other teams have so many questions for me, is why I posed the question because the Denver Nuggets don't. You're getting Murray back, but you're getting Murray back, a guy you've said in the past couple of weeks is fully back to what he was pre-injury. Yeah. You have the best player in the world who, by all intents and purposes, could continue to get better, per Murray's words, and I don't disagree. And then you have Aaron Gordon, a guy I think has firmly cemented himself as the 3rd best player on the team and a really good, really strong number 3. I think they should still upgrade from Michael Porter Jr. I stand by that. That being said, even if he was with the team next year, you could have worse number 4s, especially if he's fully healthy, especially if he continues to grow like we anticipate and many think he can. To me, this is maybe not a lock as the best team. No, it probably is a lock as the best team heading into next year, no matter what anybody does. There's no moves I could see the Lakers making. There's no moves I could see the Suns making that are going to jump the Nuggets for me because the Nuggets still have Jokic.
When do we feel that a NBA Finals winning team is not the best team going into the next season? Can I just say this past year, if there is no altercation between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, do we not believe that is the best team coming into the season?
I really, and I was wrong, but I really thought it was the Milwaukee Bucks. I really, in my heart of hearts, felt that if the Milwaukee Bucks had not had
Chris Middleton,
we would have. And we say it all, but maybe not. I don't know. Like after what we saw this year with Middleton, I really felt the Milwaukee Bucks were going to be poised to get back to the NBA Finals. And they fell short and they collapsed against this Miami Heat team who everyone took lightly based on their seeding and based on their point differential. And like me included, swiftly forgot what they did last year. I really think, though, that this Denver Nuggets team, every other franchise has so many question marks around it. At the top, like the Sixers are riddled with question marks. The Celtics are riddled with question marks. The Bucks have question marks. Like this Nuggets team is the only team heading into next season at the bare minimum. They're going to retain their core guys and they're going to be poised to get right back there.
Two of those 3 teams that you mentioned, the 76ers and the Bucks, have new head coaches. So they have to figure that out as well. Same thing with the Suns that I mentioned before. So
massive acclimation process.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting. I actually, who did you guys just added as an assistant? Someone you just brought someone in. The Celtics
Bucks,
did.
Yeah.
I'll have to pull that up because I liked the hire.
We brought in Sam Cassell.
Right. Which I like that as well.
Started his career there. Not bad.
He did. Charles Lee, who was with the Bucks for quite a while,
right?
And and he's a veteran assistant coach, and obviously so is Sam Cassell, and Sam Cassell has had head coaching jobs as well, right? So I like what they're doing there. No,
I don't think Sam Cassell had a head coaching job.
Has he not? Well, he was somewhat of a player coach when he played back in his day. No, seriously, a true point guard. A lot of times, like when guys are looking at potential head coaches, they're looking at guys who are guards, who see the floor, who see the game, and a quote unquote higher level than a guy that's a power forward or a center, whatever. But the fact that they bring both those guys in to support Joe Mazzulla, I think is really, really a smart strategic move by Brad Stevens. And I want to see how that plays out with y'all's team, because I think that while a lot of people believed that the Bucks were the best team coming into the Eastern Conference, I think there were also people that believed that before things happened with Ime Udoka, that the Celtics were one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NBA as well.
Yeah.
So I bring up all these different teams to say that I don't think it is a clear-cut path that the Nuggets are walking back into the Western Conference Finals and then in turn into the NBA Finals next season.
Okay. That answers my question. Sorry, I had to stat correct myself. I said start. I meant ended his career at the Celtics. He won the title with the Celtics.
Started with the Bucks?
Rockets. He won with the Rockets back to back. He's got 3 rings, man.
Yeah.
Not bad.
No, he had a good
really long
strong career.
And he's been an assistant coach for the Wizards, the Clips, the 76ers past couple years with Doc. And obviously they have their relationship in the championship team with Boston, and is now going back to the Celtics as a coach. So I don't know. I think there is a world to me where we see this play out if they win tonight. I'm very confident in the Nuggets getting back. But the Warriors, I'll see what moves they make. They also had shakeups in their front office, right? And so we'll see. I think there's a lot of question marks around the league in the West, particularly in the Western Conference, that need to be solved. But if they are solved, all the Lakers, Warriors, Suns positively, and those teams grow from the moves that are made in this offseason, then yeah, those teams, like if somehow Damian Lillard's on the Suns, if that's a part of the deal, if they could figure that out, if it's a Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton thing, I don't know, if a 3-team deal, if Damian Lillard goes to the Lakers, and that's a part of the situation there, I don't think that can happen. But if they could swing that, then the Lakers all of a sudden are maybe the favorites to win it all.
Yeah, I also think that when you get 4 rounds of the playoffs and every other team is watching you, it is tape opportunity for coaches and teams to come up with schemes that can mitigate you in ways that when you haven't had a run like this, they weren't able to prior. And I think that, look, if they end up the number 1 seed in the West next season and the Clippers come in as the 8th seed and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are healthy going into that series, and they have Ivica Zubac, who's actually a relatively good matchup from a size standpoint with Jokic, like, that's a tough team for the Nuggets to play. I
100%, but I'm very waiting. Prove that they got to prove it.
No, but my thing is that, like, that's an 8 seed who, if they won and they beat the Nuggets in a round 1 series, I wouldn't be like, how did that happen? I would be like, I can't believe that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard stayed healthy this entire time. But I wouldn't say, oh, they didn't have enough talent to beat them. So when I think that the margin of talent is still within striking distance for any other team in the Western Conference Finals, and when I say any other team, I mean the true contenders of the conference, then I can't lock this team in as a dynasty. And they have to go and win the second one to actually become a dynasty.
Okay. Let me ask you this, though, because you bring up...
I think what you've said before, right? If they get 2 and 3 years, you consider that. If they get 2 and 3 years, and the year that they don't get it, they get bounced in the Western Conference Finals in 6 or 7.
Dynasty level.
You consider that. Okay. Which I think is fair.
Okay. Let me ask you this, though, because you bring up the Clippers, and I don't disagree that they're, the roster construction, if everyone's healthy, obviously deep superstars, it's what you want to get to the NBA Finals. At full health, would you rather Paul George and Kawhi Leonard or LeBron James and Anthony Davis? I think you would rather LeBron and AD. That's what I would.
Who's the best player out of those 4 guys?
Fully healthy going into next year? Probably Anthony Davis.
You think? You think Kawhi is now at this point gotten slowed down enough?
Like,
by
it's. I mean,
but when it was right this season, it was like it looked same old.
He had 2 good games against the Suns, but then you're done. And he was done. It was over. And that series, what we all
You
thought
asked
was
me
going to be
at you asked me
amazing.
at you asked me at full health though. So
I still think AD, because I think at full health, AD's dominance on the defensive side, what he does, and not no shake on Kawhi. Paul George's defense has dropped. LeBron's obviously has dropped it.
I trust Kawhi here more than Anthony Davis. And it's not even close.
If they're healthy, yeah.
Yeah, I just like I'm not saying that you're not right and that Anthony Davis isn't a better player, but who do you want in the last 5 minutes of a game if they're both fully healthy?
Kawhi Leonard.
That's not even that's a stupid question.
But I think throughout a game and throughout a series, I'd rather Anthony Davis.
Okay. Again, fair. But I think predisposed bias, including the fact that he gets less injured and he gets injured too.
I think Paul George is without a doubt the number 4 there. No questions asked. That to me he's better than LeBron James, point blank, period. I mean, LeBron James is better than him, point blank, period. Sorry. No, okay. That to me.
I think 2 through 4. Yeah, but I also think I could see you could be asking someone this question and they could have Anthony Davis at the 4 for every reason.
And that would be a bad opinion.
Would it?
I think so. I think at the worst, if someone was like Kawhi 1, LeBron 2, 83, Paul George 4, I'd be like, fine. Paul George is the 4th player. And I love Paul George. Love Paul George.
He was able to get further as the number 1 on his team than Anthony Davis ever was as the number 1 on his team.
I also don't know if we ever saw. I think Anthony Davis was probably even better than when he got to the Lakers.
In the
Davis
year?
Yeah. He was pretty awesome in the Lakers, dude. He's pretty awesome.
When he was in New Orleans, he used to drop like 50, 20 in 4 block games all the time.
He was epic, but they also the Pelicans were a team that made moves to they made a heavy move to go get Boogie Cousins and he got hurt. That flopped. I think I saw a Chat GPT breakdown of someone asked who are the top 10 Pelicans of all time, and it spit out that Anthony Davis was the best Pelican ever. Yeah. Who else was? Does that include New Orleans Hornets, like Chris Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, it's tough. It's tough. But Anthony, dude, AD played with them until he was 24. You know?
He got 5 years.
I don't know. Paul George, a little more. Paul George was unbelievable in Indiana.
No, I mean, you got to take the team that has already won a championship together, the duo that won a championship together.
Yeah.
Right. Granted, it was 3 years ago, and LeBron 3 years ago is different than LeBron this year. As good as he still is. As good as he still is.
Yeah. I'm just looking at that Pacers team. Shout out CJ Watson. Big time shout out. He was on that team. We should probably actually ask. That's next time we're on with CJ, we should probably ask him. I think, did we not talk to him about this Pacers team? We might not have.
I don't think we did.
Oh, I got to ask him my age-old question of what was Frank Vogel thinking. Let's go to the NFL. Who signs first? Who would you rather sign might be a dumb question, but who signs first, Hop or Dalvin?
Probably Hop, because he's
been on the open market longer.
And that's I think what you were alluding to is it's a more important position to fill and feasibly could have more impact on a team competing for a Super Bowl, which I agree.
Okay. Hop's 31, Cook's 27.
You think you'd rather have Dalvin Cook than DeAndre Hopkins at this point?
No, but I think it's closer than I think people would give it credit for.
Oh yeah. I mean, Dalvin Cook is, if he ended up as a top 10 running back in every statistical category this season, why would we be surprised? We should not be surprised.
No, I think there's a team. I think we brought up the Chargers last time. I think the Dolphins he wants to go back to Florida. I think they should take a real long, hard look at him, and he should go to one of these. I mean, he should try to stay in the NFC if he can, is what I would do if I was him. I mean, unfortunately, the Eagles, went with Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift to man their backfield going forward, which pretty strong. But if I was him, I would try to look at one of these, NFC contenders and see where I could make my mark there, if possible. I mean, look, if Saquon, they might be waiting to see what happens with Saquon too. If Saquon leaves New York, in comes Dalvin Cook.
I mean, it's just not better than Saquon, but
He's not, but not a bad replacement.
Or younger.
He's not, but not a bad replacement.
No.
They might have to trade Saquon Barkley.
I wouldn't if I were them. I'd try.
But would you pay him though, dude? Like, you can't. These contracts do not work.
But what does Dalvin Cook want?
A shorter term deal. I'd rather pay Dalvin Cook for 1 or 2 years than Saquon for 5. I just have not seen a long-term contract work out for a player. Like, we'll see what happens with McCaffrey this year in San Francisco. Henry has had some injuries, but he's in the final year of his deal. Look,
ideally, I'd like to get Saquon for 3 years. That's what I'd ideally like, the length of the contract.
But we don't play that world, bro. Yeah, ideally, yes. I mean, 3 years. I mean, if I could get Saquon for 3 years, $39 million, that's fine. I'm cool with that.
Well, it's interesting to say we don't play that way, but it's like at the negotiation table, if we're doing this with Dalvin Cook, and I know he's older, but why can't we have the same conversation 2 years prior, 3 years prior with the running back?
Like, why did they have
and say that the per year value of your contract is not going to be substantially reduced, but what I cannot give you is 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Like, but I said, like, the contract I just threw at you for Saquon was not 5 for 65. It was 3 for 3 for 39.
Yeah,
still,
I mean, still the 13 is it's a lot. It's a lot. But I think if you want Saquon Barkley on your team and you want him to be the offensive engine of your team, then you're okay with paying him 13, I guess.
You have to be. That's what he's going to command. He's not going to take. He might even be commanding more. He might want 15 or 16, dude.
Yeah, I mean, our buddy Nick loves bringing it up, but if you go and look at the past Super Bowl winners, like, they do not need to pay a running back a lot of money to win the ultimate prize in the NFL. So wherever Dalvin's going, like, I like the idea of a short-term contract. That way he can still go get his money, but still be on a contender. But I also think it's not necessarily like the worst thing if you take a small bit of a pay cut and you end up with the hardware.
Yeah.
Which I like your decision about going to the NFC. So I think it's an easier path there, obviously.
I just don't know who.
I mean, who's your best shot, right?
No one in the South.
It's the Cowboys. I mean, how much are the Eagles paying between?
They just brought both those guys in.
But wasn't Penny like less than $1 million deal though?
I don't think so.
Well, he's been so banged up though.
But they're gonna ride those two guys, I think. I don't think they're gonna.
Let's not forget that they also have Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell in the room. So are they going to ride those guys? And Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts
RB1.
So yeah. So realistically, like, Eagles, I would say no. I think Cowboys. I think the boys are his best bet to win if he's going to go. In the end, it's because, like, San Francisco, they're not going to bring in another guy. They already have McCaffrey. Seahawks, they just went and took Zach Charbonnet. Plus, they have Kenneth Walker, third. Rams, no. Cardinals, no.
I forgot about this, but the Eagles also have Trey Sermon on a year 2 of his 4-year contract.
I actually also.
By the way, they're paying Rashad Penny $1.3 million. So that was a
steal if he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that Dalvin goes for the bag first. I think he goes. I think his prerequisites would go Miami, back to Florida, bag, championship. He's still like not that. It's not like
Miami's ahead of the bag.
Yeah, because you could get the best of both worlds. You're the starting running back. You're a title contender.
But you're not going to get the bag there. I would be surprised if they offer him more than any other team.
I don't think they will, but I think he gets to go back to Florida. There's no state income tax. I think there's a lot that works into the deal for Dalvin Cook. I think that is beneficial for him. I would say that Miami is I would say Florida, Miami specifically, followed by the bag, followed by look, he's not it's not like LaShawn McCoy when he like jumped onto the Chiefs and the Bucks type at the end of his career after he dominated for the Eagles, dominated for the Bills. Like Dalvin is still in that realm of still being a young, relevant running back. So for me, Dalvin Cook to go and get, I'm not saying he's going to do this. I don't know if the Bears would do this, and we could tailor that into the next thing I wanted to do. If you go into the Bears, I mean, I know they have Foreman. They just took our guy Roschon, so I don't know if they'll necessarily go get him. But if they were to offer him a boatload of money, then I don't think it's necessarily a bad move. If he's looking to get that next contract and he could go get a ring later on in his career, I think he's still got a lot left in the tank. And in my mind, he's still an RB1 point blank period. It's just the money issue with running backs these days. It's a very tough hurdle. No one wants to pay these guys.
We can't forget that the Bears also have Khalil Herbert, who might get the majority of their snaps as RB1 this year, and we wouldn't be that surprised.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the thing with the running backs. Like if Mixon were to get cut somehow, he could try to jump on. If they were,
I still feel like the Ravens is pretty viable. I do. Dobbins has not been able to stay healthy. Edwards has not been able to stay healthy, and the rest of that room is guys that not many people know. Owen Wright, Keaton Mitchell, like Justice Hill. We know he's not a starting running back. If you want to keep giving Lamar the tools to succeed, I think that makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. I think it does. Originally, I didn't, but. And I like your Bengals call too. I'm with it. I'm with the Bengals if Mixon is on the outs.
I'd watch the Bengals. I'd watch just watch. I'd watch the New England Patriots. No shot against Stevenson. I know we took Pierre Strong last year, but I think Dalvin's better than both those guys for me for sure. If you get him on a
really,
Dalvin Cook's a better running back than Ramondre Stevenson. No, and I like Ramondre a lot. I think Ramondre could be really good.
He had a better year than Dalvin did last year from an efficiency standpoint.
Yeah, but he got the opportunity to mix up carries. Again, Ramondre was good. He averaged 5 a carry. But to me, Dalvin though is a proven guy.
That's really, really good.
Yeah, it's great. But Dalvin, what did Dalvin average? 4.4,
which is a career low, I think.
Career low. He played all 17 games. He scored 8 times. He's good. He's just as good in the pass game. Oh, look, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but I would be stoked if we had Ramondre and Dalvin Cook. I'm not saying he's necessarily coming in there and like Ramondre is an afterthought. Running both those guys together, like you can't have enough weapons in the backfield. We know the Patriots love to run the football. So,
if they're willing to spend, which.
That's my thing. Like, if Hop, they're willing to spend on Hop, he's coming to visit, and I'm not saying Hop's going to sign there, but if they're willing to spend, they're willing to spend. We know they're willing to throw some money out, and they have some money to throw. And I don't know, no shake on Mac Jones, but I would love for this team to go back to somewhat of what they're. I know obviously Tom is the GOAT, and he's had an unbelievable career, but a lot of the times, like the Patriots were a very underrated run team. Their ability to run the football. Getting in and out of games. And I think 2 years ago when they made the playoffs, our run game was strong with Damian Harris. And I think kind of going back to a defense run first team, I think would be very, very beneficial for Mac Jones, for the Patriots, to me.
Well, no, I know that's not what he wants to do.
Mac?
So you're continuing to upset your QB based off of how he left things off last year with the lack of an offensive coordinator, which turned into them running the football a lot. I will say this though,
they're running the football to a fault.
What Tom Brady was able to do with those teams, they were excellent running teams. Maybe they might have been underrated, but I think the people that know football and watch football know how good they were, especially up front in carving out lanes. And then Tom Brady is an excellent PA passer. but he's also a better quarterback than Mac Jones is. So
Yeah. Of course,
so
he's
I
more of a
think that
threat and it opens
so
up the
you
run
could
game.
you could I'm just saying you could argue that like maybe Hop is more important for a Mac Jones led offense because he has never had the wide receiver talent to actually open things up for him to be
Yes,
more
I would.
impactful.
I would rather have Hop on the Patriots. I'm saying if we don't get Hop and we're willing to spend the money, throw it at Dalvin Cook and run a two-headed monster with Ramondre Stevenson and Dalvin Cook, and let your passing game become secondary, and trust your defense. Get in and out of football games.
Right, which is what Bill loves to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I'd like him there. I think it'd be fun to see him as a Pat Dalvin Cook. I mean, any of these teams, it's going to be exciting because it's Dalvin Cook.
Yeah,
because like we said, he's a top 10 running back in football.
absolutely. All right, let's play. Or before we play a game, let's play 2 games actually. Let's play. I want to go through team by team per show. Got the Bears schedule right here, dude. Let's just predict their record. 17 games. You're going to give me win-loss. All right? We'll see what their record is by the end of week 18. Game 1, Sunday, September 10th, at home versus Green Bay. Win or lose?
At loss.
Versus Green Bay at home.
Let's say they.
I think they win. I think they could. I not that I don't think. I think Green Bay could be really good with Jordan Love. I have full faith in them. But I think the Chicago team is not the worst team in the league this upcoming year. I think they definitely take a step forward from being, again, like the worst team in football to being a more consistent and somewhat respectable team.
Okay. All right. So we have them as a win there.
Yeah. At Tampa.
That's a win.
At Kansas City.
It's a loss.
Versus Denver.
That's a loss.
I agree. At Washington.
That's a win.
I think the Commanders are going to stink. Unless Sam Howell proves us wrong. At home versus Minnesota.
I think that's a loss.
I'm with you. At home versus Las Vegas.
I think I'm going to take the Bears. I mean, I think I'm going to take every team to beat Vegas this year, even though they might actually be better than what I expect them to be. I just don't. I want the Bears to win that game, so I'm going to pick the Bears.
Okay.
And I think it's doable. I think it's a winnable game.
All right. Yeah, for sure. 100%. You'd like to think so. Week 8 versus the Chargers.
Loss.
Inola.
Loss.
Versus Jameis Winston. At home versus Carolina.
Loss.
Wow. Okay, I would push back on that, but I pushed back already too much. I'm asking you. I forgot at the top. At Detroit.
That's a loss.
At Minnesota.
I'm going to pick them to win because I think they're going to split with Minnesota, and I know I'm flip-flopping on which game that they're winning, as in it not being the home game against Minnesota, but yeah.
Going to Minnesota.
When is that game? Also, we don't know when, but we just know
Monday
night.
Monday
yeah,
night.
Primetime Kirk, dude, he's terrible. So there you go.
Okay. Bye week at home
they win
versus
that.
Detroit.
They win that big. The bye week's a big win for them.
Massive bye week victory at home versus Detroit.
It's a loss.
We are riding the Lions this year. At Cleveland.
It's a loss.
Home versus Arizona on my birthday.
Big old dub.
Home versus the shout-outs to their families the following on New Year's Eve.
I will. I'll give them a win here.
At Green Bay.
Yeah, loss.
Okay. Bears improve by our accounts, and I think this is fair, to 7-10.
They got 7 wins there.
Yeah.
More than I expected. So that's a solid season. Yeah. I mean, look, I think what they have, and like that second to last week where they're playing the Falcons, who I think are an improved team. The Bears have an X factor in Justin Fields, and he's incredibly difficult to game plan. And if your defense can't contain quarterbacks that are mobile like him, and he has personnel groups, especially in the linebackers and in the DBs, that he can take advantage of with his strength and his speed when he gets out into the open field, you're always going to have a tough time stopping the Bears. And with an improved offensive line that is going to give this guy some more protection, I think their offense improves this year. And we just mentioned, we were talking about Foreman. We were talking about Herbert, who was really good last year. He was really good. And some more consistency this offseason with their wide receiving core and some additions there. You know, Claypool gets a full preseason to run with Fields. We'll see how that, what that duo can turn into. But this offense will be much improved. But there's also teams like the Packers. I like what they could turn into at the end of the season, right? And that game's on the road, and it's a tough one. The Lions are a good team. The Vikings, they lose Dalvin Cook, but they still have JJ. They still have Kirk Cousins. They still have a solid squad. Right. They added Jordan Addison. So and that they have some tough games. That's a tough schedule. Like, I think the Browns late in the season, I gave them an L for that one. Let's see what Deshaun Watson looks like in his second season back with the roster that on paper is really solid.
And he actually gets to practice with the team throughout the year.
And then they have a couple tough games against an improved Panthers team. The Saints, they have to play on the road. The Commanders, they should win that one. So there's some games that are very winnable. I think this record could have gone in either direction for sure, but it's good that they have like the Cardinals on there. It's good that they have the Commanders on there. It's good that they play the Packers week 1 early rivalry game. You could be really, really hyped in that game before Jordan Love has
at home. Exactly. I completely agree there. I think I will make a list with Nick when he gets back on, tomorrow. But one of the things I want to take a look at is I want to take a look at teams, like, because you listed the Commanders and the Saints, and those to me are two of like the bigger boom or bust teams this year. So I want to just like kind of like, that's just like a game we could play, bigger boom or bust teams. But I do have, I'm with you. A 7-10 record is a bit more surprising, but I thought a lot of your picks were very fair there. The Panthers are one of those teams. I was like, interesting. Commanders and the Saints as well. So those are some boom or bust teams, some surprising teams potentially. But this is a game I created. I think you'd like this game. All right. It's called Guess That Year.
Okay.
I'm going to give you something in sports. You get a guess. And then I'm going to give you something in pop culture. Then back to sports.
Okay. Oh, you're not throwing the P-ticks in there? A little politics?
No.
I don't know if that would help me. I don't know if that would help me, honestly.
You would know. It depends. I'm going to do it if it's like helpful. Like, it's going to get easier as it goes.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
I think I have 7 hints available. I think you could do it.
Okay.
The national champion in basketball was the UNC Tar Heels.
04.
Nope. The number 1 song on the Billboard's Top 100 was I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston.
Okay. 91?
No.
I think Duke won that year.
The national champion in college football was Florida State.
Okay. 87?
No. The top rated television show, scripted television show, tied was Seinfeld and Home Improvement.
93?
Correct.
Cool.
1993. The rest of your hints: Best Picture that year, Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. World Series winner, Toronto.
That wasn't going to help me.
No, that you probably should have flipped those. World Series winner, Toronto Blue Jays. Super
Okay,
Bowl winner.
that probably also wouldn't have helped me that
I
much.
think Nick would have gotten that. I think he would have known.
The Blue Jays. Well,
I
because
think he would
is
have.
that the only? Is
They
that
went back to
that's their
back.
most recent? They went back to back.
But
Who
yes,
was
that's
on
their most
that
recent.
team?
Joe Carter. Let's touch them all. Joe Carter. Roberto Alomar. Maybe Ricky Henderson. I gotta look. Super Bowl, Dallas Cowboys, and then the NBA champions.
That would have locked it in. Yeah.
The Cowboys. Well, I
And
didn't know
the
which.
Bulls.
Well, the Bulls. That would have been. I almost gave you the Heisman winner for. Can you guess the Heisman winner? The national champion was Florida State. Can you guess the Heisman winner?
No, I can't. Tell me who that is.
Charlie Ward, former guest of
Oh, Chuck Ward.
Ward. I just will give you
I
before
mean,
we
I
wrap
was.
up.
What did I say? 90? Did I say 92 with my second guess?
Said 91 with your. I didn't want to give you like. I don't want to give you like a hot or cold. Like I felt like you didn't need that.
Yeah, I think Duke won back to back, and then UNC won that next year in '93. So that's yeah.
To give you some,
I got a little tripped up by Witt because I was like, okay, I feel like Witt was in her heyday in the '90s, but I didn't know if it kind of started and she came on the scene in like the late '80s. So that's why I threw that one out there.
No, good guesses.
Yeah.
I'm going to quickly give you, per your request, the roster for the Blue Jays. Some notable guys. You had very young. I don't know how much they played. Two very young Sean Greens and Carlos Delgados. I don't even know if they counted in this, but the starters were Paul Molitor, end of his career, still at 330. Joe Carter, as per mentioned. Roberto Alomar, as per mentioned, and John Olerud were the big players. Also, Ricky Henderson was also on that team.
First baseman John Olerud. Nice.
Wore the helmet.
He's a beast.
Pitchers, notable pitchers, Hall of Famer Jack Morris, but he wasn't great. Al Leiter was on the team. He was there for his first World Series. And Dave Stewart would be another guy to mention.
Shout out to Al's son, who is continuing to play good baseball on the rubber for the Texas Rangers minor leagues. So
yep,
he continues to put good stuff together.
They're going to need. They may need him. He may need to. Unfortunately, he may need to come up. Very interesting. We'll get into more baseball tomorrow. But your Rays had a very interesting series. Obviously, your Rangers against versus the Rays. Tough. They're good.
We got one.
Yeah,
which was good.
Well, yeah. I think I want to see your team. There's a tough week for the Rangers mentally. I want to see these two teams meet again, hopefully late in October. But Fisher, Tosopoulos, Snacks Carter will be joining us once again tomorrow. This is the Daily Stripe. The date is Monday, June 12th, 2023. And the winner of this past weekend was Novak Djokovic, winning his 23rd Grand Slam title, making it most all-time, ironically, over Rafael Nadal on the French clay. Fans out there, drag both feet in bounds, swing on a full count, rip that puck, hit that putty. PKs because they're free, and your free throws. Why, Toss?
Because they're free.
Because they're free. We out, you. We love you.